Bright Falls, Washington, a place where the line between reality and fiction blurs. We traveled back into this unsettling town a year ago, hoping to find answers, hoping to find Alan Wake. Instead, we found darkness deeper than ever before. A darkness that feeds on fear, twists minds, and rewrites the very fabric of reality. This time around, Bright Falls feels, well, wrong. A disturbing silence hangs where laughter once echoed. The usual charm has been consumed by darkness. In their place, a suffocating sense of fear hangs heavy in the air. The once familiar cabins and streets are now wrapped in endless gloom. Distrust hangs thick in the air. The townsfolk, haunted by the events of the first game, are wary of outsiders, especially anyone mentioning the name Alan Wake. But the real horror was within the Dark Place. Remedy has completely reimagined this twisted dimension. Imagine a warped reflection from Bright Falls, where towering trees squirm like skeletal fingers, and houses balance on the brink of collapse. The Taken, those weird shadowy creatures born from darkness, have become even more grotesque and relentless. Every shadow seems to twist with unseen menace. Every whisper feels like a chilling promise of violence. This shift in tone perfectly reflects the narrative's focus on psychological horror. The self-guided playfulness of the first game's gone. This is a story of desperation, of a man balancing on the edge of sanity. We play as Alan Wake, of course, but this time, he's not alone. We also take control of FBI agent Saga Anderson, a newcomer to Bright Falls with a past that intertwines with the darkness plaguing the town. Playing as both Alan and Saga offers a fascinating perspective on the unwinding events. Alan's sections are a masterclass in psychological horror. We see the toll the Dark Place has taken on him, the blurring lines between his fiction and reality. He's a man haunted by the past, holding on to the remnants of his sanity by a thread. Saga, on the other hand, brings a much-needed grounded perspective. She's not a writer wrestling with demons. She's a law enforcement officer trying to make sense of the impossible. She's determined to uncover the truth about the darkness and bring Alan Wake back, even if it means confronting her demons in the process. The combat in Alan Wake 2 takes a significant turn compared to its predecessor. While the original offered a satisfying dance between light and bullets, Alan Wake 2 throws you into desperate struggle for survival. The Taken have become more aggressive and tough. They move faster, attack with greater ferocity, and require a different approach to kill. They can no longer be killed with a few flashlight bursts and well-placed bullets. This shift in enemy design requires a change in player tactics. Combat becomes a tense dance of risk and reward. Do you waste precious flashlight batteries exposing every enemy, or do you rely on quick bursts to exploit vulnerabilities? Do you unload your entire clip into a single Taken, or do you conserve ammo for the inevitable horde waiting around the corner? The iconic flashlight mechanic remains a cornerstone of combat, but its role has evolved. Managing battery life is an important role. You can no longer rely on a constant stream of light to keep the darkness at bay. Instead, you need to think strategically, using short, focused bursts to expose enemy weak points for a critical window of opportunity. A well-timed flash followed by a headshot becomes an essential skill for survival. The focus on light forces you to adapt your movement as well. Dodging becomes a crucial element of combat. The Taken are more likely to flank you, forcing you to be constantly aware of your surroundings and ready to move out of harm's way. This introduces a new layer of skill to master, adding a sense of urgency to each encounter. The developers haven't simply cranked up the difficulty of the Taken. Instead, they've introduced a variety of new enemy types, each with unique behaviors and vulnerabilities. Some Taken may have armored sections that require specific light angles to disable. Others might be drawn to light, creating a risk-reward scenario where you lure them into a trap before unleashing a devastating attack. These creatures are designed to create a primal sense of fear and disgust, a constant reminder of the darkness that consumes everything it touches. By adding another layer of complexity, certain Taken can manipulate darkness itself. These challenging enemies can create temporary zones that render your flashlight useless. These encounters require quick thinking and alternative strategies. Perhaps you can use environmental light sources to your advantage. Or maybe a well-placed grenade can disperse the darkness long enough for a decisive strike. The combat in Alan Wake 2 is a thrilling evolution from the original prequel. It's about survival, not light shows. Every bullet counts, and every flashlight burst needs to be strategically planned. This shift in design creates a tense and engaging gameplay loop that keeps you on the edge of your seat throughout your journey into the Dark Place. Another significant change in Alan Wake 2 is the evolution of the Dark Place. It's no longer just a nightmarish landscape. It's become a warped reflection of Alan's psyche, directly tied to his writing. This connection is the most evident in the new writer's room mechanic. Scattered throughout the Dark Place are safe spots filled with pages from Alan's manuscript and a trusty typewriter. This makes things interesting. As you explore these rooms and interact with the words on the pages, you reshape the Dark Place itself. Need a bridge to cross a chasm? Write it in. Want to create a weapon to fight the Taken? Put the pen to paper and make it happen. It's a mind-bending twist that adds a new layer of player agency to the experience. You become a co-creator of this twisted world, directly influencing the challenges and opportunities you encounter. Of course, with great power comes great risk. The more Alan manipulates the Dark Place, the more it seems to push back. There's a constant sense of unease, a feeling that you're playing with fire. You have to be strategic about what you write, balancing the need for tools and the potential for unleashing even greater horrors. Unsettling visual design. From a visual point of view of the Dark Place, Remedy's Northlight engine is truly pushed to its limits here. Imagine a David Lynch painting come into life, twisted and mangled. It feels as if Silent Hill meets the warped landscapes of Inception. The environments are constantly shifting, defying the laws of physics. Buildings twist and contort, trees morph into monstrous figures, and the ground beneath your feet seems to move with unseen life. But it's not just the surrealism that creates the fear. The use of lighting and shadows is masterful. Most of the Dark Place is bathed in endless darkness, with flickering shadows dancing across the twisted landscape. While playing, you may never know what's lurking just out of sight. What monstrous form might jump out of the dark? The constant feeling of uncertainty keeps you in a state of adrenaline. The unsettling visuals go beyond just aesthetics. The environment itself tells a story, reflecting Alan's fractured psyche. Twisted nursery rhymes scrawl across decaying walls, and warped mannequins stand frozen in silent screams. These details scattered throughout the Dark Place offer a glimpse into Alan's tormented mind, further fueling the atmosphere of unease. The audio design plays a crucial role in increasing the unsettling visuals. Eerie whispers echo from unseen corners, with occasional creepy snarls of the taken. The soundtrack is a wild mix of harsh, screeching violins and weird offbeat drum sounds, creating a constant sense of tension and unease. Every creak of a floorboard and every rustle in the shadows becomes louder by your heightened senses in this oppressive environment. The unsettling visual design of Alan Wake 2 is a masterclass in building atmosphere. It's a world that assaults your senses, playing on your fears and leaving you feeling constantly on edge. This is a darkness you can't simply escape. It lingers in your mind long after you've stepped out of the Dark Place. Trust me, it does. Alan Wake 2 doesn't just throw scares at you, it narrates a conspiracy that keeps you guessing until the very end. The masterful use of twists, unreliable narrators, and metafiction, coupled with a deliberate pace that builds suspense, makes the journey through the Dark Place as thrilling as it is terrifying. The game cleverly blends reality with Alan's fiction, where his writing directly affects the world. Exploring hidden lore in the form of environmental details and collectibles adds another layer of intrigue. With Alan and Sarah as our protagonists, the narrative takes on a fascinating twist. Both characters have their agendas and perspectives, making it difficult to recognize the absolute truth. This unreliable narrator approach keeps you questioning everything you see, forcing you to put the pieces together to see the bigger picture. From the cracked walls with cryptic symbols to the abandoned cabins with unsettling personal belongings or flickering neon signs with distorted messages, all these elements offer clues about the events that transpired, the nature of the darkness, or even the characters' backstories. Unlike some fast-paced action titles, Alan Wake 2 prioritizes building dread and suspense instead of bombarding you with constant action sequences, leaving hints for the player to find in every corner of the darkness, from documents and hidden manuscript pages to even seemingly random objects that become puzzle pieces. Putting them together reveals the story's secrets and character motivations, which rewards exploration with a deeper understanding. These slower moments allow players to soak in the unsettling atmosphere, appreciate the meticulously crafted environments, and delve deeper into the story's development. 1 year after its release on all popular platforms, Alan Wake 2 continues to create a long shadow, leaving a lasting impact on fans and the gaming industry alike. Alan Wake 2 wasn't just met with positive reviews, it sparked discussions about the evolution of narrative-driven games. The game's writer's room mechanic, which allowed players to influence the Dark Place through Alan's writing directly, was hailed as an innovative step in player interaction. This blurring of lines between protagonist and storyteller was held high by critics, pushing the boundaries of interactive storytelling. Alan Wake 2 wasn't just about awards recognition. It sparked a cultural conversation around psychological horror and its potential in gaming. The game's unsettling atmosphere and exploration of mental deterioration resonated with a wider audience, attracting players who might not have typically shown an interest in horror titles. This broader reach has secured Alan Wake 2's place as a title that redefined what horror experiences could be in video games. The release of Alan Wake 2 further solidified Remedy Entertainment's position as a master of interconnected narrative experiences. The game's subtle references and Easter eggs pointing toward Control and Quantum Break sent fans into a frenzy, piecing together the grander narrative that Remedy is interlinking across its titles. The interconnectedness had promoted a dedicated community of fans who actively theorize and analyze the connections, creating vibrant conversations surrounding the lore and potential future crossovers. The open-ended nature of Alan Wake 2's conclusion has ignited a firestorm of fan theories and speculation, Questions about the fate of characters, the true nature of the darkness, and the lingering consequences of Alan's choices continue to spark passionate discussions online. This active engagement from the fanbase is a testament to the game's lasting impact, and its ability to leave a lasting impression on players' imaginations. A year later, Alan Wake 2's lasting impact is still forming, but its influence is quite clear. New mechanics, a creepy chilling atmosphere, and a deeper dive into cherished characters led it to secure its place as a worthy successor within the Alan Wake franchise. One thing's for sure, Alan Wake's tale isn't over yet. The darkness may recede, but it never truly disappears, waiting for the next sequel writer to pick up the pen and continue the story. Before we go, what's your opinion on Alan Wake 2? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more.